What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. It says I'm live, but I don't see a picture of me. Yep, there I am. All right. So, welcome back to the channel. I apologize. For some reason, I've been because I have so much stuff in front of me, I have not been looking in the camera, so I'm back on my job. So, yes, I'm looking at the camera. I see you guys. I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for coming out to the stream this morning. Today's Friday. I expect it to be a fairly light day, but great news. You know, we've been talking a lot about Andrew Yang putting himself back out there in the forefront, doing some things to get some earned media. And one of the best ways that he can do that is to really take advantage of both talking about something that no one's talking about to really differentiate himself from the other candidates, but also do something that's interesting and really put some new ideas out into the conversation, because that's really what he's most known for. You know, he's the UBI guy. He's the only one talking about actually putting money back in the hands of American citizens. And I mean, he's definitely cooled off a bit, you know what I mean? And we've seen the rise of Pete here lately, but rather than sit here and get into the, fighting over individual policies, let's just remind everybody, I'm the only guy who's talking about the future. Everyone else has policies for today. They have ideas, but I'm the only one talking about the future. And that's what we need to be looking towards, right? This is about the fourth industrial revolution. This is about the America of tomorrow. And Andrew Yang is the only guy who's really equipped and who's knowledgeable enough to lead us there. So yesterday, man, I need some water. Yesterday, he announced new policies, and I saw this. I was like, "Is this right? Is this true?" And yes, it is official. He has actually added this to his website. He has added regulating technology firms in the 21st century as of November 4th, and today, or November 14th. Today is the 15th. So this is brand new legislation. You know, these things he's talked about, but he's really starting to, put some detail behind this. And even I haven't even gone all the way through this, because this is deep. And today is really just going to be this is just going to be like an introduction to this stuff. Like I said, this is new ideas. I'm going to have to do like a lot of research. And again, a lot of this fourth industrial revolution stuff is not happening here. So we don't really have a good reference point to say, oh, this is what they're doing in Seattle. Like, no one's really doing anything. So Yang, thank you. Thank you for thinking about the future. We appreciate you. And yeah, man, you're the only one. So we got this article at LA Times, or Los Angeles Times. That might be a different name. I don't want to conflate things, but Andrew Yang proposes tax on digital ads in swipe at Google and Facebook. So I think we'll probably just go over to the actual policy before we even get into the article. It's going to be more of a summation, but it's big. So I'm just going to go through this. The advancement of technology in America has driven the advancement of humanity nationally and globally, but technology has also outpaced our government's understanding of it. Regulations are falling short of protecting us from big tech companies that are prioritizing profits over our well-being. Now, before we get any further, I put out a video the other day about the taxi drivers, the taxi situation in New York City. Huge deal. That really came from technology. It came from automation. It came from fourth industrial revolution. This fight between the old business model of taxi drivers, which was based in, some 1937 policy on how we can regulate taxi drivers in New York City with these medallions. Enter Uber in 2012, 13, somewhere around there. They come in with this brand new model using regular cars, unregulated, and the government simply couldn't react fast enough. And this is kind of what we're seeing. That was just a fantastic example of why Andrew Yang is uniquely the only person who can really address this, because obviously he's the only one even talking about it. He's the only one who sees this as a real problem, and that's why you got to be looking at your boy. So if you have not checked out that video, it's like 17 minutes long, but it is a detailed video. I put some time into the research. It's good information, and it will help you when you're having these conversations about why Andrew Yang is different, because truly the biggest difference between Andrew Yang and the other candidates is that he's the only one talking about the future. Everyone else is about today. They had ideas, but he's talking about today, but he's also going to the future, which is important. Obviously, that's why he resonates more with younger people, technology, you see all over the internet. But at the same time, a lot of boomers or just older people in general who don't necessarily, they don't put everything together. They don't say, oh, mall's closing Amazon. They don't put that together. They're just like, oh yeah, Amazon's just a store. No, Amazon is like an amazing logistics machine. Okay, they're fantastic at what they do. They have every little piece of data that they could possibly absorb, and then they give you Alexa, and Alexa is their voice thing. They give you the Alexa, and they want to get all your information so that they can make your life super easy. But at the same time, they're putting almost every other business out of business because they're so good at what they do, and they have all the data that makes it all possible. What is this? Oh, okay. All right. So today we live in a hyper-connected environment led by these tech companies that has impacted our culture, lifestyle, families, and politics. The culture of innovation and the quality of human capital in America has fostered the growth of this industry over the past couple of decades to create trillion-dollar tech companies in a framework of self-regulation. But the benefits these services have given us has begun to clash with the well-being of society. Big tech companies are the winners of the 21st century. They've amassed too much power, largely profiting from our personal data and unaccountable responsibility. We have reached to a point where the government needs to step in. And we're starting to take notice, with about 50% of U.S. adults favoring more regulation on tech firms. These companies themselves are asking for regulation until you propose specifics. So this is definitely noteworthy. I mean, if you look into regulation of tech companies, you're going to see where Zuckerberg is talking about regulating. You're going to see where Bill Gates is talking. They want regulation because honestly, I don't even know why. I assume it's got something to do. They want to be able to anticipate what's going to happen in the future. So they're like, look, we'll just do this with you. That way we don't get hit with something in the future. But I don't know. Maybe there's a master plan that they're not telling us. But nonetheless, they're on board. Let's do this now. Even in the, and I didn't really cover it in the article, but even in that video on the New York City cab drivers, there was, I think it was $100 million that Uber and Lyft had put up to try to, I don't know, to ease the situation with the cab drivers. I don't know if that would have been, I don't know how that would have been disseminated or how that would have been put out. But basically, the city said no. So they didn't accept that money. So we don't know what could have been. But regulation is needed. Regulation is welcome from that side, but it's time for us to kind of put something together in order to, address these concerns. Unfortunately, our government is unequipped to handle it. We dissolved the Office of Technology Assessment in 1995. Recent hearings with tech CEO like Mark Zuckerberg exposed the lack of basic understanding of technology by members of our Congress. Definitely going to insert a video on that. Digital giants such as Facebook, Amazon, Google, and Apple have scale and power that renders them more from quasi-sovereign states than conventional companies. They're making decisions on rights that government usually takes, like speech and safety. Their business models are predicated on keeping people engaged, driven by algorithms that are supercharged by technology to predict our behavior, such as artificial intelligence and machine learning, and that feed off of our data, creating an increasing asymmetry of power without any accountability. This is scary. Like, for real, like, it's really, like, if you take the conspiracy theory out of it, the basic premise is they need you to stay on these platforms. So they design every single thing about the platform in order to trigger your brain, to get that dopamine. I mean, you guys all know this stuff. You guys are all tech savvy, obviously. But, I mean, it really is just scary because even as a content creator, this is what I think about. Like, I got to a point, like, I've been doing this for a while, where I was like, man, my job is literally to keep people watching a video, or my job is literally to keep people from clicking off of something. And everything I'm doing is a psychological trigger to keep you there. And everybody on the platform has that exact same job. And that is the platform's job. Like, and that's how they make money. This is not about right or wrong. That's just that's the job. That's what we do. It's crazy. So, from the Philippines. Yo, appreciate you. We might need you at the Philippines MSNBC office one day, so stay in touch. The The most concerning of all is the effect technology and social media platforms are having on our kids. Technology, smartphones, and tablets are ubiquitous. Our kids have access to them from infancy. They're getting hooked from a young age on apps and platforms that function as dopamine slot machines, potentially destroying the psyches of a generation. It's affecting our kids' mental and physical health, contributing to obesity, sleep deprivation, posture issues, stunning social skills, and blurring the lines between real and virtual relationships. It's time to take action. You guys have heard Andrew Yang made his statement on particular types of videos and how we need to protect our children from them. Like, this is just the reality, man. Of course, they're going to tell you that you're responsible as a parent. Meanwhile, they're making it as accessible as possible. It's super easy to reach. They know that you can't control your kids' friends. Like, it's a setup. Nothing wrong with asking the government to step in and do a little bit of something, especially since it's welcome. But we need to come up with 21st century solutions to these problems. My approach is four-pronged. 1, regulate the use of data and privacy by establishing data as a property right. The associated rights will enable individuals to retain ownership and share of their economic value generated by their data. 2, minimize health impacts of modern tech on our people, particularly our children. I will create a department of attention economy that focuses on smartphones, social media, gaming, and apps, and how to responsibly design and use them, including age restrictions and guidelines. 3, stop the spread of misinformation that is eroding our trust in our institutions and fanning the flames of polarization in our society. I will scale up VAT on digital ads to hasten a shift away from our ad-driven business models, require disclosure on all ads, regulate bot activity, and regulate algorithms, addressing the gray area between publishers and platforms. You know, the beautiful thing about this is that he can actually mention VAT because he's the only person who's talking about it. Like, that's right. I created a new tax, and now I'm going to be able to take advantage of it. It's kind of how it works, man. I mean, you know, not one that you can skirt. Like, you need this. You need this. Adopt a 21st century approach to regulation that increases the knowledge and capacity of government while using new metrics to determine competitiveness, and quickly identifies emerging tech in need of regulation. Quickly. That is key. Again, you go back to the CAB article, you'll see that had New York City stepped in earlier, they could have curbed this situation. They could have, you know, just like how they limited the amount of cab drivers, they could have limited the amount of Uber and Lyft drivers back then. They waited too long. They were slow to act, and as a result, the problem had already gotten out of hand. Those companies were already failing, and, you know, it is what it is. Applying 20th century solutions to 21st century problems is not the right way to go. Measures such as breaking up big tech companies to foster competition would necessarily address the fundamental problems. Breaking up Google into 5 mini Googles wouldn't change much as people don't want to use the 4th best search engine. Network effects would eventually turn out a dominant player. That's why we're taking a modern approach. This is a new way forward. Man, this is a book, man. this guy really wrote a book. But it's cool. It's so awesome. This is so new. It's not even formatted like the rest of his website, because this part where it says "As President I Will," this is usually like highlighted in blue, and there's like a donate section above this. That's not even done yet. They just wanted to get it out. So, data as a property right. Each of us generates a significant amount of data each day during the normal course of our activities. Our data is now worth more than oil. Our phones and computers track our movement and actions, while our browsers and websites track our online activities. As we've seen, some of the largest tech companies we know more about us than we know about ourselves, our families, and even those closest to us. That's what happens when about 90% of all online activity globally are done on just one platform. As of now, that data is owned by the people who collect it, and they're allowed to do anything they want with it. They've sold it. They've used it to target us with advertisements. They've analyzed the vast quantity of data to draw conclusions on whole populations, allowing them to monetize it. At this rate, the extraction of personal data is America's fastest growing industry, worth $197.7 billion by 2022. We've also seen it abused. Some companies haven't done enough to protect our data, resulting in breaches that have made our private information insecure. Others have sold it to disreputable companies, allowing them to target us for everything from marketing fraudulent services to influencing elections. Companies themselves have been asked for better and clearer rules. This breach in American privacy and data security requires regulation of ongoing data collection. If our data is going to be used, we need to know how it's going to be used and how we're going to be compensated for it. We also need to regain control of it when we want. By implementing measures to increase transparency in the data collection and monetization process, individuals can begin to reclaim ownership of what's theirs. Data generated by each individual needs to be owned by them, with certain rights conveyed that allow them to know how it's used and protect. These rights include the right to be informed as to what data will be collected and when and how it will be used, the right to opt out of collecting data collection or sharing, the right to be told if a website has data on you and what that data is, the right to be forgotten if you have to have all the data you related to you deleted upon request. Isn't it like a service right now? Like, don't people charge you to delete all your old MySpace accounts or something like that? Or to clean up your internet footprint. I don't know if it's called internet footprint, but it's something along those lines. The right to be informed if ownership of your data changed hands. Wow, that'd be crazy. Imagine how many letters you'd receive every single month of all the times your data is moving around. The right to be informed of any data breaches that include your information in a timely manner. The right to download all data in a standardized format to port to another platform. Consent should be informed and active. Companies are responsible for ensuring that they collect a positive opt-in from each user before collecting any data, and this opt-in should be accompanied by a clear and easy way to understand statements about what data is being collected and how it's going to be used. You can waive these rights and opt in to sharing your data if you wish for the company's benefit and your own convenience, but then you should receive a share of the economic value generated from your data. As president, I will use the VAT on digital advertisements and data to ensure every person whose data is used for tech companies to sell ads and sustain their business model will get a slice of every digital ad. Establish a new digital bill of rights that clearly outlines how data is allowed to be collected and used. Allow individuals to port their personal data to and from platforms of their choosing. Mandate that that platforms offer users options to delete customer data after using it. Mandate that all platforms have the option to use their service without collecting data or personal information on the user. You know, I had this thought years ago. I would rather just pay for all of these social media apps. Like, that's what I said. Just let me pay for it. Let me pay for it because I don't want you doing all the things you might be doing. So I'll pay you $24 a month for access to your website, and I don't want no ads, and I don't want none of that. But just let me pay. There's a reason why they don't want to let me pay, because they're making way too much money. They'd probably charge like $150 a month if I had to pay. You want the URL to this new policy? Absolutely. Your wish is my command, good sir. Minimize health impacts of modern tech on our people, especially our children. We are beginning to understand exactly how much of an adverse effect some of these new technologies are having on the well-being of society, especially our children. There are serious concerns about the effect on our kids' brains, socio-emotional states, and cognitive and physical development at a time when 22% of young children, 60% of tweens, and 84% of teenagers currently use a smartphone and social media apps. Without real accountability, platforms like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram are ignoring the negative impacts of their services on our children. As the father of two young boys, I worry about what this will mean for our generations growing up with these technologies. Our kids have access from infancy. They're getting glued to apps and devices that are functioning as dopamine slot machines. I look at my childhood and I remember riding a bike around the neighborhood, but now tablets, computers, and mobile devices have shifted the attention of the youth. Today, more than half of children aged 8 to 12 have their own tablet, and a quarter of them have their own smartphone. The effects are worrying. There has been an unprecedented surge in depression, anxiety, and suicide, and a marked decrease on sociability. Teenagers are spending more time worrying about whether their online acquaintances like their recent posts and spending time with their friends in person and developing social skills. The average teenager spends Friday nights at home interacting with the machine instead of being out with friends. It's weird, man. Even the content for children's platforms isn't subjected to any rules and standards the way they are on TV. This lack of regulation means that our children are exposed to extreme and inappropriate content at younger and younger ages. Now, I'll tell you this, just as a father, it's crazy. Like, my kid is not allowed to watch YouTube. And if he is, I'm picking and choosing because it's so crazy to think. Like, I got Amazon Fire Stick, right? He just picks up the remote. He's like, hey, put on Paw Patrol or something. I don't know. Something his friend at school said. Cause I'm like, I don't know even know what you know about Paw Patrol, whatever. He says it, but because Alexa, Alexa's an algorithm, right? So she's like, well, which the one that's going to make him watch more of it? Because she's not going to pick the one that the one that I approve of necessarily. She's going to pick the one that's going to do the most for the algorithm, where they're going to watch and view and all that. So there's all of these different like fake versions of kids shows that people make, because they're trying to keep the kids engaged. And a lot of parents, they're busy. They don't really know. And the way YouTube kind of works, for example, it just plays them back to back to back to back. And if you're not watching, you don't even know what's happening on these shows. Like, you really got to watch. I don't know. If y'all got kids, you understand. Or if you got kids and you've dealt with this internet stuff, you understand. But if you don't, just know YouTube for children is very different than YouTube for adults. And sometimes those lines get very blurred. So never let your kid watch YouTube unattended, because it can be all bad. And it happens very quickly. It is also causing other risks to health. Studies have found that adverse associations between screen time and sleep deprivation, extended screen time, has also been linked with obesity in children. The health of our kids and potentially of generations after are at risk. We must take action. Those who have worked within the industry describe the work they've done in stark terms. They say that the smartest minds of a generation are spending their time getting teenagers to click on ads and obsess over social media posts. Chilling. In short, many experts are worrying that the widespread adoption of poorly understood technology has caused mental health and developmental problems for an entire generation. We can't just accept that our kids are all right. We need to do something about it. As president, I will create a Department of Attention Economy that focuses specifically on how to responsibly design and use smartphones, social media, gaming, and chat apps. It will include overall guidelines as well as age-based ones, provide guidance and regulation if needed on design features that maximize screen time for young people, like removing autoplay videos for children under 16, removing the cues that allow infinite scrolling, capping the number of recommendations per day. Capping the number of recommendations per day. Royalty 20. You just said something that a tech executive would say. Just pay attention to your children. Sounds simple, right? Sounds simple, right? Sure. That's exactly what we're going to tell you to do. Just pay attention to your children. I mean, we spent billions of dollars trying to make sure that it's extremely difficult for you to monitor what's actually happening on the platform. Yeah, just pay attention to your children. You got this. They're betting against you. Their business model is for you to fail. Their business model is for you to slip up. So they're going to work really hard at making sure that happens, because that's how they make their money. Provide guidance, establish rules and standards around kid-targeted content to protect them from extreme or inappropriate content, incentivize content production of high quality and positive kids programming similar to broadcast TV, require platforms to provide guidance on kid-healthy content for parents, and provide incentives for companies to work to make user data of minors available to their parents. Man, that's fantastic. Just learn the code, bro. There it is. Just learn the code. But that's actually also a fantastic point. Incentivize content production of high quality and positive kids programming similar to broadcast TV. I'm already a lost cause because we can do something about the next generation. Listen, that's why you need, I'm not even saying the government can do the best job. The point is something needs to be done, because the company's goal, because they're worried about making money, is to keep you on the platform. So they're going to do whatever it takes. And when you see this kid-friendly content, man, it's just flashing lights and, it's songs, and it literally looks like a slot machine. Like, if you look at a slot machine for an adult, and then you look at one of these YouTube videos for kids that are pretty much designed, not all YouTube videos are like this, but there's definitely a specific sector of YouTube kids videos that are tailored to trying to get the kid to sit there and watch that video as long as possible. And it freaked me out, because I watch videos, no big deal, but I never saw stuff like this. It's different. It's not a regular video. Include classes on responsible use of technology in public school curriculum and teach children how to distinguish reliable and unreliable news sources online. Okay. Did I miss something? No, I didn't. Okay, stop the spread of disinformation. Now, again, we're talking about politics. We're talking about news. This is important. Social media platforms have catalyzed mass disinformation campaigns over the past decade, threatening not to just our well-being but our democracy. Despite efforts by the tech companies themselves to combat internet disinformation, political disinformation campaigns have reached over 70 countries. Facebook has become the number one social network for disinformation. Really? I have to verify that one. Algorithms driving recommendations toward conspiracy theory content or other types of disinformation need to be reined in. Same goes for bots, which have exacerbated the situation. We must address once and for all the publisher versus platform gray area that tech companies have lived in for years. Facebook, Twitter, and other social media sites are using algorithms to make recommendations. These recommendations drive the majority of all traffic, up to 70% for Google-owned YouTube. Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act absolve platforms from all responsibility for any content published on them. However, given the role of recommendation algorithms, which push negative, polarizing, and false content to maximize engagement, there needs to be some accountability. Exactly. You are incentivizing people to do clickbait, and then you try to say, well, why are you clickbaiting? It's like, no, you told me to do that because that's what works. Your platform likes this. What are you talking about? He used the YouTube algorithm. Yo, that's why Yang's the guy to solve the problem, because he understands how it works. As president, I will amend the Communications Decency Act to reflect the reality of the 21st century that large tech companies are using tools to act as publishers without any responsibility. I wonder how much they cost them in lobbying to make that happen. Assisting companies in detecting bots and penalizing them if they don't meet minimum effectiveness thresholds at regulating the spread of information, especially from foreign actors. Work with companies to create algorithms that minimize the spread of misinformation, disinformation, and information that's specifically designed to polarize or incite individuals. Ooh. All I'm thinking about as I'm reading this is this is a really nice money-making opportunity in here. Because I imagine you're going to want some humans doing this instead of just leaving it up to the algorithms. Work with companies to create algorithms that require algorithms on platforms that allow political advertisements or the sharing of news stories to be open source or confidentially disclosed to the Department of Attention Economy. Require large, clear labeling on all advertisements shown on an online platform. Require the publication in a conspicuous location of how purchases and data is being used to target the individual with other advertisements. Place a higher VAT on digital advertisements in order to incentivize companies to shift to an ad-free subscription model. Didn't I just say that? What? Listen, Andrew's way ahead of me, but I'm just saying, your boy I be in there a little bit, okay? Includes classes on the responsible use of technology in public schools curricula. Yeah, we already covered that. So, yeah, man. We got to get together for a live stream. I have a video. Sunday might be possible, my friend. The algorithm does work, though. Lately, that algorithm has been making some great recommendations. You know what? I agree. But I'll tell you this. I purposely don't give the algorithm too much information about myself. The recommendations I get, I don't think really are catered to me as much as they could be because I don't give it as much information. And I think, the more information you give it, the better your recommendations are going to be for sure. So, but the algorithm is also going to take into consideration not only who you are, it's also going to consider what they can make the most money off of. You know what I mean? So, is it wrong? No, it's not wrong. They're trying to make money. We get it. But just understand that that's a slippery slope. You know what I mean? So if they need to come in on my behalf because sometimes I don't know what's best for me, I'm not mad at them. Personally, I have a little tracker on my phone so I know if I'm watching too much YouTube or if I'm on too much social media. And I want my thing to say I'm on social media for 1 hour a day. That's not what I'm hitting right now. I think the lowest I've ever consistently hit was 3 hours. And that just seems like that's a doc with most recent Yang uploads. Um, but of course, at the same time, like my phone drives my life, and especially me, I'm a digital content creator, so it's not just I'm trying to stay off social media. It's also my job to kind of be aware of what's going on. So it's just tough. But I wouldn't be upset if they made it so it was harder for me to use my phone for 12 hours a day. Like I might be upset initially, but if it's good for me, then so be it. There's more to life than holding my phone. Um, all right, I gotta knock this out super quick. Okay. In order to regulate technology effectively, our government needs to understand it's embarrassing to see the ignorance some members of Congress display when talking about technology. Anyone who watched Congress question Mark Zuckerberg is well aware of this. Without a base level of understanding, it's unreasonable to expect proper regulation of major tech companies or the drafting of legislation that's addressing the critical technological issues that we'll continue to face in artificial intelligence and cybersecurity. Yet, the Office of Technology Assessment, which provided valuable research and briefings to inform our legislative branch, was phased out in 1995. Free of the bias of private industry or think tanks, the OTA, whatever, provided neutral information on the latest technological developments to legislators. Many of these reports, despite being a quarter of a century old, show an amazing pre-science on topics that are still relevant to this day. The vital institution needs to be revived, with a budget large enough and rules flexible enough to draw top talent from the very lucrative private sector, with the mandate to ensure that our legislators are up to the task of regulating the biggest technological issues of our time. Additionally, it's high time we create a Department of Technology at the cabinet level. Technological innovation shouldn't be stopped, but it should be monitored and analyzed to make sure we don't move past the point of no return. Man, this guy's on point. This will require cooperation between government and private industry to ensure that developing technologies can continue to improve our lives while keeping our data safe and ensuring our autonomy. Um, this department, based in Silicon Valley and initially focused on artificial intelligence, will be led by the Secretary of Technology, who will spearhead public-private partnerships to tackle emerging threats and maximize the benefit of technological innovation to society. Once the government is up to the speed of technology and measures have been implemented to curb the negative effects on society, we must ensure that control over the most powerful technologies in history don't accrue in the hands of a few. However, we must recognize that 20th century frameworks of breaking up companies based on size or pricing impact on consumers won't be effective. Network effects will always ensue as a dominant player invariably emerges. And no one wants to use the fourth best. What language is this man speaking? Bro, I have to polish off my Turabian to read this thing. Jesus. Determining monopoly power requires us to make clear distinctions on market player versus market platform. If Amazon is on the marketplace, it shouldn't be competing as a market player as well. Ooh, that's big. It's difficult for Amazon or Apple to guarantee credibility to other market actors that they won't take advantage of their access to platform and their ability access to information and their ability to shape the market conditions. Consolidation of data assets, shutting down competition, even if it won't affect prices, and the lack of competitive business formation should all be considered when determining whether the government needs to take action against a business. Finally, government needs to be forward-thinking and informed on the latest technological developments so that new regulations can keep up with innovation. We shouldn't stifle innovation, but we shouldn't let it outpace our ability to regulate it. Two recent examples that highlight the problems: cryptocurrencies and video game loot boxes. Both are areas that many legislators are blind to or completely unprepared to understand the technical aspects of. It's creating an unregulated marketplace in both areas. The lack of regulation is having disparate impacts. Cryptocurrencies are seeking levels of fraud because of lack of regulation. Other countries are ahead of us on regulation and leading in this new marketplace and dictating the rules that we'll need to follow once we catch up. Loot boxes are impacting our children, causing them to spend more time and money on these video games without many parents being aware of the existence. He's talking about loot box. Do you understand? This man is like, first of all, he's highlighting how far behind we are, because these are not brand new things. Like, we've been talking about crypto since, obviously the government's caught up with crypto a little bit, but loot boxes, definitely not. They going ham out there, man. I see people still playing Grand Theft Auto, spending $10 a week. Like, what are you doing? Cryptocurrencies and digital assets have grown to represent a large amount of value and economic activity, outstripping government response. A national framework of regulating these assets have failed to emerge, with several federal agencies claiming conflicting jurisdictions. Currently, different departments of the federal government consider digital assets as property, commodities, or securities. Some states have onerous regulations in the space, such as New York's BIT license. Navigating this has had a chilling effect on the U.S. digital asset market. Separately, loot boxes are a mechanism in games where digital items can be purchased to add to the experience, but they're done in a blind manner, so you don't know you're receiving it until after you pay for it. These mechanisms can seem similar to gambling because of the random outcome, keeping players, usually kids, engaged on the platform for longer or costing them hundreds or thousands of dollars in addition to the base cost of the game. Some games have a free-to-play model where the game itself is free, but they're funded by the purchase of these loot boxes. Regulation that requires online publishers to increase transparency to draw profitability from virtual items and limitations on number of loot box purchases would be a start. We also need increased parental controls for these so children don't end up being responsible for large charges. Come on. I know y'all done call that 1-900 number when you were 6, and then you got that phone bill one day. Okay. In short, our government's knowledge of technology and ability to regulate it and the market is being outpaced by innovation. We need to generate new generation of leadership that understands these new and emerging technologies so a proper framework can develop to protect consumers and ensure innovation and competition. As president, I will revive the Office of Technology Assessment, establish a Department of Technology, set a new standard for metric for antitrust, including size of data and lack of business information, require platforms that are market players and market platforms to maintain an even playing field for competitor products or services on the platforms or exit the market. Promote. This might be his entire this might be his entire 4 years, Loki. This is a lot, man. Require platforms that are market players and market platforms to maintain an even playing field for competitor products or services or platforms or exit the market. Promote regulation that provides clarity on cryptocurrency, digital asset market space by defining what a token is and when it is a security, defining which federal agencies have regulatory power over crypto digital asset space, provide for consumer protections, clarify the tax implications of owning, selling, and trading digital assets, promote the nationwide adoption of recognition of protections afforded by a Series LLC, preempt state regulations when possible to create one national framework, regulate mechanisms in video games that allow people to gamble on random items that are purchased with real money to prevent over-purchasing by minors, and to increase transparency on what is being received and the value of it. Ensure that free-to-play games marketed to minors do not rely on exploiting child psychology for profit, and guarantee that every in-game purchase is approved by an adult. It's right to embrace technology and all the convenience and advantages that come with its advancement, but we can't do it at the cost of our humanity. At the core of our technology use needs to be our well-being and the future, and that of the future generations. We owe it to ourselves to pursue a new way forward in this technology-driven era while we still can. Andrew. So, there it is. There he's got the bottom of the page. So, man, this is obviously a lot, okay? This is obviously a lot. But I think the most important thing here is how can you more differentiate yourself from the field by coming up with legislation, using taxes that you're creating, and addressing a problem that you're the only one who sees, than by doing what he just did here. And this is not some little throw a couple of lines down and we cover it. That's probably more thoroughly written out than even the UBI was initially on his website. I think he's cut UBI down quite a bit on the site now, but that's super detailed, okay? And honestly, if he only addresses the things that regarding automation and technology and UBI, and he never touches everything else that he's talked about, he's at least setting us up for a better future. I mean, I'd love for him to do everything he's talking about. And obviously 4 years is a lot of time, but it's not a lot of time. But I hope you guys are like, I really hope you guys hear in this and you see where he wants to take this, where he sees the, like, where we're falling behind, where the area for opportunity is, and why he's so invested in technology. Like, technology is the future. Like, this is a huge opportunity. There's a reason why you can make a bunch of money off of it, because they're able to make a lot of money off of, like, they're making a lot of money. We don't even know how much money they're making. You know what I mean? Like, selling and reselling your data. Who knows how many times your data is flipped every single day? Just imagine a world where you got notified every time your data got sold. One, they'd probably sell it a lot less than they currently do, but man, I think you'd be blown away by how frequently your data moves around, because I can't imagine that it only stays, well, on Google. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure they're flipping it 9, 10 times a day. And when there's no regulation around it, I mean, it's got to be a beautiful thing. So yeah, they love this opportunity. It's a huge opportunity, but at the same time, at what cost? You know what I mean? Sure, Zucks is going to be super rich, so Zucks is going to be good. The people who are listen, I took all my money out of everything I had it in. I said I'm just investing in tech, because I was like, that's the only thing I can trust to go up, and I can't beat tech, so I'm just going to invest all my money over there. That's my personal investment strategy. Just give it to them. Amazon got this. I can't keep up. So I would feel like a businessman. Wow, this is the lawyer. Yeah, he definitely went in. I mean, listen, I said yesterday, I think sometimes his biggest weakness is that he's not a normal person. Like, he's too smart for his own good. But what is the future of UBI with loot boxes? Is still, listen, I came into this and said that I think UBI is a great opportunity for me to make money, because if the more money people have, the more money they're going to spend. Like, but at the same time, that's not the purpose of it. Like, that's just an opportunity for us to say, okay, the people are taken care of. Now let's get on this technology and try to keep trying to advance and keep trying to find opportunities where we can do something different and do something better and continue to innovate so we can, compete. Digging ditches ain't going to compete with what's happening in the rest of the world. Sorry. Like, metalwork ain't going to. Colin, you did it, not me. Google been using this browser Chrome to get data from. Man, I'm sure they are. Did you see the marketing plan for this? Do you see a marketing plan for this? No, I don't. MSM is jacking off. Oh, you made me say that. Steve, you can't make me say stuff like that. Oh, man. MSM will try to double down on impeachment. Yeah, they can't help themselves. We need to ensure to get him elected for second term. Hey, if he's working on this, he's going to have to be reelected, because nobody else even understands what's going on. Even in incognito, they sucking data. Well, who's going to stop them? They're unregulated. I mean, we can't tell them what to do. We don't even understand what they're taking from us. So it's like that's the perfect thing. Like, it's like you hear about people. This chick was on Shark Tank or something like that. She wanted to start a business, so she went to her uncle or something like that. He had some kind of, I don't know. He had some kind of. He was a builder. He was a builder for houses or something like that. She was taking something off of the new builds, and he didn't understand what it was. But basically, she was taking it, she was flipping it and making money off of it in order to fund her business. But we don't even understand the value of what it is we're giving away. So, and not to mention, even if we had it, what could we do with it? We can't do anything with our own data. Like, I'm going to walk around and tell people, I like chocolate ice cream, and usually I like chocolate ice cream on Thursdays right after. Like, that don't make no sense if I just tell you. Your data is only worth something in the machine. So they got a perfect little situation. I remember when Facebook was struggling to make money. I don't know, you guys probably remember this. Like, Facebook couldn't make money at one point. Man, they came back. They came back hard. Let's see if I can find that. Facebook couldn't make money. Facebook. I don't even. I feel like the internet has been purged, because I can't find stuff from like before 2005 anymore. Let's see. Nah, you're not gonna find that. It was like probably 2003 or something like that. Facebook wasn't making no money. They were like, "What is Facebook?" They were laughing at Facebook. It wasn't a real company. Who's laughing now? I say let them drive up the price, but Yang in office, we're gonna get paid. Yeah, man. How do you get old people to realize these issues when they can barely Google something? Well, that's what I'm saying. I feel like for Yang, in this part of the election, he needs to focus on the present. But when he gets into the general election, that's when he can focus on the future. Like, I'm not mad at this. I'm great. I'm glad that he put this out. But I just feel like there's going to be a disconnect because people aren't going to really understand it. Like, people don't understand the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Like, I've been researching and trying to find things, and it's really hard to make that connection for people because, like I was talking about with Amazon, they don't necessarily put the connection between the stores closing and Amazon. They don't understand that connection often. Like, you have to explain to them, well, you're giving all this data to these companies and they're able to target you with their ads, and therefore they're able to be more efficient and they're able to save a bunch of money because they don't need people to actually go out and get this information from you. You're giving it to them voluntarily with your smartphone. So a lot of people don't understand that relationship. So it's going to take a while for them to really get it. And hopefully they can get it before this election cycle is over, because I would hate for I'd hate to have to wait 4 more years to get Andrew Yang into the office, because we need him now. I'm not trying to fall behind 4 more years. Even if I play Steam, I get gaming ads on YouTube. It's ridiculous. Is that a pink? You know, I was an alt writer. What? If people can't see it's a chance to cash in and still wants. People don't understand what I do. Like, people don't understand what I do. They think I don't know. People just don't understand. And that's fine, you know what I mean? But I want people to understand before it's too late. Like, sure, I can make a lot of money off of it, but I'd rather if I made a better society in the process of making money. Like, it doesn't feel good to feel like you're exploiting people or something like that. Like, that's not the business. That's not the business I want to be in. There was a statistic around 2000 Amazon will need to sell 1 book every person on the planet just to break even. How you like me now? Yeah, man. These tech companies, they were a joke at one point. People don't remember that. These tech companies were a joke. They're like, y'all don't even do anything. Y'all don't even make no money. Okay. Okay. Just wait. We'll figure it out. But yeah, I try to find those old articles. I really feel like they've been purged from the internet. There's just probably so much stuff being written that you can't even find it anymore. I think there's like a link to get to like pre-2007 articles or something. The greatest skill a politician has done is convince a mass that $1,000 a month is a bad thing. Man, the anti-UBI campaign is doing a fantastic job. I'll tell you that. Automation just helps the argument that we need it ASAP. Of course. I think Andrew Yang demonstrates why UBI is good regardless of automation was an issue or not. MLK was for UBI before AI and automation were an issue. UBI means give every person the resources needed for basic life. It is the way we allow people to live and pursue their own passions. I mean, if that's the world you want to live in, I think there are people out here who are really addicted to wanting to work as long as possible. And it's like, I saw somebody say something like, the only person who would be a fan of UBI is somebody who's lazy. I'm like, no. Like, first of all, I don't support UBI for me. Like, I'm going to be good. I'm going to get money regardless. There's no situation in which I'm going to be broke. Like, that's never going to happen. I worry about everybody else. I worry about my kids. I worry about the future. Like, it ain't about being lazy. I don't think people are going to be lazy. I don't think people are going to retire. Like, oh, I get $1,000 a year or a month. I'm good. That's all I ever wanted. No. Like, why should people have to struggle for basic necessities? You know what I mean? Like, we're not talking about making people rich. We're talking about making sure that you don't have to use your credit card to cover your basic needs. And of course, that's a problem because the credit card companies are like, no, we want that money. But you're still going to get the money, credit card company. Relax. People still going to overspend. Trust me. Trust me. I wasn't born yesterday. I know I've seen things. People spend money. They're not going to stop. They're still going to buy Jordans. They're still going to buy iPhones. They're still going to buy TVs. Black Friday's still going to be nuts. Like nothing will change. All right? Except for maybe they might not break in your car for some little small thing. I mean, or maybe less people will do that. That won't be as bad of a situation for many people. But yeah, in general, things ain't going to be that drastically different. UBI will reduce crime rate. Man, I would love for it to reduce crime. They should give some. Tim Black is getting old. That's why he pushes Medicare for. Oh boy. Oh, these people don't like money. They like money. They just don't like you having money. But I just think they gotta understand, like their money is protected. You're not gonna lose anything. You're gonna get. You're gonna make more money under this system. Like I guarantee you that if UBI went into effect today, 12 months from now, Amazon will report record earnings. Like they're not gonna lose money from this. Okay? We got a tax. We're not talking about just taking money from one company and giving it to the people. No. Andrew Yang gave us a VAT because he said, you know what? Let's tax goods. So that's going to affect purchases, which means it's going to affect the end consumer. So maybe you'll buy less things that you don't need, but it's not going to hit Amazon over the head like that. It's going to cost them, but they're going to be okay. They're going to be very resilient. They will continue to make plenty of money. My stock choices are safe. I'm not worried. As an owner of Amazon stock, I'm not worried that we're going to lose money. My audio cut off? It shouldn't have. Christmas would be off the chain. Exactly. I mean, come on. Why people gotta they spend all their money on Christmas and then they use their income tax return to pay off the credit cards they just ran up. Like, what is that? Like, why are you using your credit card to subsidize car repairs? Like, that's not the world I want to live in. I want you to have the money to just take care of those things in life. All right? For real. And the lender has to pay the VAT. They're not going to go broke, all right? This is not going to put Capital One out of business. They're not going to be like, oh, new taxes, we're screwed. Trust me. Capital One doing just fine. Chase is doing just fine. Nobody's going out of business. Extend daylight savings time, less crime, genius. He's just a forward thinker, man. It's just all it is. This guy is thinking about this stuff. Like, I made a critical video of Andrew Yang yesterday. It's never to criticize him in that I think I could do a better job. It's that he thinks so forward. He thinks so ahead that people can't even grasp the concept of the things that he's talking about because he's covering so many different bases, because he's so wide. Like, he sees so much more than we can even see. But I just want to make sure that translates to normal humans. You know what I mean? That's all. Yang is skimming off the top of our collective production to give food. Yeah, man. So would you say that Will Smith's character was exploited in the movie when he gave blood so that he could get that extra money to keep roof over his I mean, don't ask me. I'm just saying this. Like, this is. I want a better world, okay? And I think Yang is going to lead us there. I just don't see it from anybody else. 160 of 193 countries have a VAT. We are the only one that does not have a VAT. So 160 countries are doing it wrong, and we have the best system in the world advancing in tech so fast. Oh, man. I think it's hard for people to consider that we could be doing something wrong. Like, sunk cost fallacy, right? You spent money on it, so it must be good. You're not going to throw it away. Like, you won't just call it a loss. Nah, it don't matter if you spent money off of it. If you don't benefit from it, if it's not good, then it don't matter. If you got a bad idea, it's okay to walk away from it. Like, you're just wasting more time by continuing to work on it. Like, don't try to fix something that you know is broken. If there's an option and you know there's like a business model, you've seen it already in practice, you've seen another structural model overseas, like, let's just adopt that idea. It already seems to be working. Man, he does need to nominate Charlemagne. I mean, I'm just saying, like, you running for president, so I'm not gonna sit here and act like you're my equal. Like, you know what I mean? Not to be offensive, but just like, yo, I'm here with some serious business. You taking up my time. All right. So since I'm here, we're about to talk about with some policy. We're not about to sit here and waste no time talking about whatever nonsense you talking. I'm trying to get elected. Bottom 92% of America doesn't want $1,000 a month because the top 8% would get it. That's how our minds are, man. We have an amazing propaganda machine. Propaganda, I don't even use that word enough, but whoever set this whole thing up, they really thought long and hard about what it would take to really get people to buy into this stuff. And it's paying off because people will vote against their best interests, not because of a religious conviction or because of any good reason other than it's different. Like, I just can't imagine doing that other thing because that's just not what I've done. So what? If it's the right thing to do, you just do it. Sanders has brainwashed the West to hate the top 8%. I mean, all he's done is really capitalized on people being unhappy with the way things have gone. But at the same time, he's still going to get up there and say he's a socialist, at which point Trump will embarrass him and then this whole thing will be over. So he's not winning off of that. But yeah, he definitely has some people questioning the top 8% or whatever, but they're not voting for him though. I'm saying he would likely cause a reduced interest rate, so they're not paying that much. Oh yeah, Charlemagne's, yeah, of course. Charlemagne's far more sharp-minded than Trump, a little tougher. I'm not saying Charlemagne does not a dude who thinks, but he don't know what he's talking about. So, like, just because I'm a good sports analyst doesn't mean I'm a rocket scientist. You know what I mean? Just because I'm a good interviewer don't mean I'm a good athlete. Like, they don't work like that. You could be good at one thing and not good at something else. It don't matter. Charlemagne's wasting Andrew Yang's time. His time is extremely valuable. He chose to go to the Breakfast Club to speak about policy, not waste his time talking about other politicians when he has an opportunity to speak to an audience that he usually doesn't get the opportunity to speak to. So I'd rather he didn't waste that time going back and forth with Charlemagne about nonsense, and he just spoke about the important things that the people who are listening, who usually don't pay attention to Andrew Yang, have an opportunity to hear. Bernie Sanders estimated. Yeah, I heard Bernie Sanders is worth more than Andrew. I heard every candidate is worth more than Andrew Yang, actually. In Roman times, government gave free bread when slaves were never citizens. Labor was free. Yes. Hey, man, I've been saying it for a long time. This thing is, they sewed this thing up perfectly. Yeah. Like, they really thought about the way this system was going to be. It's kind of genius. I can't even front. They really did a good job. You provided a link. Did I ever mention in one of your recent videos how the freedom dividend is taxable income? Yes, I did. You were absolutely right. Freedom dividend will affect your taxable income when it comes time to file your taxes. If it pushes you into the next tax bracket, then yes. You're not taxed on it like the $1,000 check that comes in the mail or whatever. You're not taxed on that, but it will affect your taxable income. Arise Chicken is absolutely right. Thank you. And please feel free, if you guys ever hear me say something that's incorrect, you want to give me some information, post a link. I do not think I know everything. I'm more than willing to accept criticism or advice or information. You guys have articles or things that you guys want me to cover, for sure, send it out. Let me know. Always down. I'm just a dude, okay? I'm just a regular guy. You think Tulsi might have less than Andrew? Oh yeah, I forget about Tulsi. She about to be paid. No matter what, you about to be caked up. After this election cycle, everybody about to get paid. They all act like he's worth millions. Just want. Well, I don't know why. I assume that he had something to do with the way they presented him, like as tech entrepreneur. Because when you hear tech entrepreneur, you assume the person's worth 300 million off rip. Like you just can't imagine a tech entrepreneur. They don't even say nonprofit. Like they literally never mention nonprofit. So when he says Venture for America, it's like where'd that come from? Like he made like a test prep company. I wish he talked more about that and what he found out about that, like how that actually worked. Like what was his role in there? I'm sure he's talked about it, but I just don't really hear him talk too much specifics about the test prep thing. Looking at modern day America, I truly understand why all empires eventually fall. Yeah, you never thought it would happen, right? It's amazing to just be watching it happen right before your eyes. Like, man, why did I pick this time in history to be around? UBI's around Athens. I find their wealth tax corrupt. How do we know later they expect the super rich and instead tax less? Listen, technically they can't be paid. The campaign gets paid. Well, after the election's over, they can be paid. Tulsi will be invited to serve in either Sanders or Yang's administration. Yeah, I did just see a video I'm probably going to check out today about why Tulsi's running despite Bernie Sanders being there. Because I know that her whole thing really got started because she endorsed Bernie Sanders back in 20, whatever that was, 16. Wasn't she the one who went to Bernie and told him that they were scheming on him? Tulsi is 21% with Trump voters. Oh my goodness. I saw somebody mention earlier up in the comments about Fox News needs to cover Yang. Yeah, that needs to happen because, I mean, I think they're open. They don't care. They don't care. They'll cover anybody. Fox News is all about a story, man. He has been the past week got good at mentioning Venture from. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but I want to hear specifically about what he did. Yeah, no, I want to hear what he did to Test Prep Company though, because I mean, he always talks about education, but he never really digs into what he did at Manhattan Prep or what that work actually was. I mean, I'm not familiar with the company, other than what we've heard, but I don't really know the intricate details of what he was actually doing. Like, why was his company successful? I'd love to hear why his company was successful and others weren't. Can we all agree that old ad marketing burner crew should be fired? Yeah, listen, Andrew, fam, I'm a filmmaker, okay? You could have hit me up. I could have broke you off. I could have hooked you up with some fabulous material. Now, I don't know what it's going to cost you to get it put on TV, but I'm just not feeling it, bro. He was the CEO of GMAT? Really? Gabbard just went to the top 3 that Trump supporters say they would support. Jeez. Well, you know why? Because Hillary Clinton attacked her. You see, that's the power of Hillary Clinton. That is the power. She's so polarizing that people would be like, you know what? I'll vote for anybody just to vote against her. I don't even know who Tulsi Gabbard is, but you know what? Since she don't like Hillary Clinton and Hillary Clinton don't like her, she and I must be simpatico. She resigned her chair position at DNC and told everyone they were unfairly supported. Yeah. That wasn't for you, man. I feel you, man. Attached with startups living cheap. Seeing Yang on Fox. Bernie and Warren are both millionaires, but they won't get to pay well. Venture for America. Yeah. Some people on Fox are open to Yang. Yeah, but Fox treats him fairly, though. You know what I mean? Like, they don't have to come in and say, hey, we got our favorite candidate, Andrew Yang. They don't have to do that. Just talk to him like a person. That's it. Just talk to them and just see what people say, because people will respond. They didn't talk about Tulsi like, hey, we want you guys to start to become Democrats to vote for Tulsi. That's not how they talk about it. They just like, look, there's this chick who is running for president, and she's beefing with Hillary Clinton. So we're going to talk about her. And all of a sudden, interest rises. Nobody has been talking about Tulsi Gabbard. So obviously, it all has to do with the fact that Hillary Clinton brought her name up. He talked about his test prep company. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he even brought up the 44% of people who were underemployed in that interview. So the Karen Hunter interview wasn't actually that bad. For some reason, they put it out in like piecemeal. Uh, let's see. Hello? Yes. Can you give me one moment? All right. All right, guys. I got to get out of here. I got a business call. Thank you guys for tuning into the stream. I appreciate you guys. I just want to run down Andrew Yang's new policies for big firms, these tech firms. Excellent stuff. He's really differentiating himself from the rest of the field, and this is what he needs to do more of. Fantastic work. Very well thought out. Showing once again why he is the best candidate for the future of this country. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like. Subscribe for more. If you guys have donated, if you haven't donated already, donate to the campaign using my ActBlue link. Currently, I am in 4th place. Thank you guys all. You guys are amazing for your support. I didn't even think I would rank on this thing, but I'm currently in 4th. I'm moving up. So if you donate to the campaign, use my link. I'll be in Dallas December 6th to attend the Andrew Yang rally. You guys have an awesome day. I appreciate you guys. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace. Hello. Hey, sorry about that. How are you? Yeah. No, you're good. I was just finishing up, so. But no, this is perfect. I did think I saw that at some point, but then I thought I talked to you, and I thought you said you were in Oklahoma City. So okay, she's in Oklahoma City. No big deal. Look, it's fine. It's fine. But yeah, I travel up there for work. It's not a big deal unless it's like some important meeting thing. But